Okay, all right, so let's get started. All right, we'll probably have some more people join over the next few minutes, but that's pretty normal. It'll take a little bit of time to join, but there's no need to keep you guys waiting. So let's kick it off. All right, so today what we're going to be talking about is how to get started with algorithmic trading. Hopefully you guys know what algo trading is, but we're going to cover a bunch of stuff today around this. So here's our agenda for today. First and foremost, I'm going to get to know you guys a little bit, pose a few questions. That way I can kind of tailor this a little bit more towards you and I can have a better understanding of who is on this call. Then we're going to do an introduction, talk to you a little bit about kind of our company, what we do, that sort of thing, and some resources to help you out. Then we'll talk about algorithmic trading, why we want to do this, some examples of this. There's another thing that I recently added in. We do these free classes every once in a while. So there's types of trading algos, algorithms. We're going to talk about that today too. That's a new thing that we haven't talked about in the past, but I think would be pretty useful because a lot of people ask about this sort of thing. So to kind of give you a good lay of the land. Then we're going to show you a demo. Markets are closed right now, so I can't do this live, but there's a demo that I recorded a few months back at this point. And I'll play that for you guys so you guys can see some of these bots in action and see basically what they can do. That was ran during market hours. And then we'll talk about the full course if you guys are interested in taking our entire course on this. This is a free class, so we're going to cover kind of the beginnings of it, right? But if you guys are interested, we do have an entire class on this that goes 12 weeks long. Actually starts in 3 weeks from now, mid-October. So if you guys are interested, we'll go into the details of that course. All right. Okay, cool. So first and foremost, let's get to know who's on this call. So I'm going to take these questions here, and what you guys can do is you can type out these questions in the chat, right? Also paste them into the chat as well, right? So if you guys can type out the answers to these questions in the chat, I'll read them off and we can kind of get to know each other a little bit there. I'll kick it off. I'll start off. I'm not going to type it out. I'll actually read it off. So first thing, what's your occupation? So my occupation is CEO of Lumi Wealth. It's my job to make sure you guys are happy, right? Make sure that we have some great students and you guys are building some cool stuff and that you get a lot out of these courses. We're also building some cool new stuff around the corner too, which we could talk about later. Before that, my job has usually been a software manager, right? So it's my job to, hire software engineers, basically train them on our things that we're doing, coordinate them, make sure that they're doing a good job. I've been doing that for quite some time now, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a bit. Do I know how to program or code? Yes, I do. I've been coding since I was a kid. I was like maybe 12 years old when I learned how to do this stuff. I don't know. It's something I really loved doing when I was younger. Played maybe one too many video games and got really good at these things. Picked up a book on C++, and that's kind of the end of that story, or at least the beginning of that story, I should say. I've programmed in almost every programming language. Name one, I've probably done it. C, C++, Ruby on Rails, Ruby, Python, obviously, JavaScript, Java, name a programming language, I've probably used it before. Been doing this for, over 20 years. And how much investment experience do I have in years? Well, I started investing somewhere around 2006, a little bit before this financial crisis. The 2008 financial crisis taught me a lot about risk management. I'll tell you that much. It's probably a good start, a good way to start trading. That way, a lot of people, when they trade, they take these really crazy risks and they think that they're geniuses until you see a nice market crash like what you're seeing right now. All these people that were going around saying they're making 1,000% a year, I'd like to see how they're doing now, because a lot of those people that are doing 1,000% a year are usually doing very crazy things that get them in trouble down the line. So I think starting investing around a period like, for example, what we have right now is actually pretty good. So it teaches you good fundamentals, right? So it's not just about making ridiculous returns on good years. It's about keeping your money. It's making money and keeping money, right? Okay, cool. So you guys are writing in a few things here, so I'm going to read this off. So John says, he's an IT support engineer. I can do a little bit of shell scripting, bash. Cool. Okay, awesome. And been trading since 2020 poorly. Well, like I said, you joined at kind of a difficult time in the market. 2020 was a pretty rough year. 2021 was very good, and then this year's been kind of rough as well. So pretty turbulent times. Like I said, it's probably a good time for you to learn some good risk management practices. But definitely don't be discouraged because if you get your things right, you can make a lot of money in times like this. Actually, is a very good time to get started. Okay, so that's John. Welcome, John. Bill says I'm a software engineering manager. Very cool. That's been my job for quite a while as well. And I've coded several languages before and a lot of database experience. I've traded off and on for several years with average success, but I'm interested in algo trading and how to apply it to option trading. Very cool, Bill. You're definitely in the right spot. We're going over today the algorithmic trading course, but we do also have a class specifically on options trading. And if you have a background in programming, like you say you do here, you've managed, software engineers and that sort of thing. So I'm assuming you're pretty good at programming. We actually have this options trading class that for most people, I think would be challenging. But for you, given your background, I think could actually be very good for you if you're interested in options trading. Let me show you that right now, just so you know where that is. You could check out this course. I think it'd actually be a very good fit for you if you want to do this for options trading. Just considering, like I said, this is usually a pretty challenging class. This one that I'm showing right now, options trading, it's not the one that we're going to be talking about today. There's a more advanced class specifically on options. I think this would be really good for you if you already have that coding experience. All right. And then obviously you can take the algo trading class, and that's what we're talking about today. But if you're interested in options trading, we do have that specifically. Cool. So thanks, Bill. Great to get to know you. Sid says he's a software architect. Yes, I code in Python and JavaScript. Awesome. I have zero investment and trading experience. Okay. Well, welcome, Sid. That's cool. In this class, we have a kind of a mix of people. Sometimes we have really good software engineers. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have people that have a lot of trading experience. Sometimes we don't. This class teaches both, right? Try to do our best to really teach you a lot about the fundamentals of investing, as well as how to actually write this stuff out in code as well. So welcome, Sid. Very good to have you on board. And by the way, a lot of coders I've seen, it's not mandatory to know how to code for this class. It's very beginner friendly, right? Which we try to make it as easy as possible to get started with this. But the people that do have coding experience that tend to do some really, really cool stuff. I've seen some of our past students that know how to code build some really, really amazing things and make some very good money. So definitely, it's always a pleasure having people around that have that background. Cool. So that's Sid. Welcome, Sid. Paula says, I'm a social communicator. Yes, I know how to program in Python and Java. Awesome. Very cool. And no, I have no investment experience. Cool. So we're starting to see a lot of people here this time around, a lot of good programmers. That's awesome. So I'll try to tailor that a little bit more towards you guys. But again, our courses are very beginner friendly. So I don't want people to think that you need to be a great coder to get in. We've been able to teach this stuff to people that have never coded before. So it is a very beginner friendly class. Alan says electrician experience with PLC programming, no other programming. I'm not sure what PLC programming is. Maybe you can let me know what that means. But it sounds like, some sort of specific thing to electricians maybe. And just started learning to trade. Very cool. Awesome. Okay. So it sounds like we have some pretty new traders here in the midst. So I'll try to tailor this a little bit more towards you guys that don't have a lot of trading experience and try to be a little bit more friendly towards you guys that have this programming experience. So it's very cool. Welcome, guys. Awesome. Okay, so let's start off by telling you a little bit about myself, Lumi Wealth, and kind of the resources that we have here. So first of all, who am I, right? Why should you listen to any words that I have to say? So I'll tell you a little bit about my background. So again, I've been coding since I was 12 years old, over 20 years ago. I don't want to give away my age too much, but definitely nowhere near that age anymore. Been programming for a very long time. I started my first software company when I was like 15. Went to business school because I loved business and felt like I was pretty good at programming already. Then did my master's in finance. right? So really got a lot of that finance experience there. After my grad school, after getting that master's in finance, I decided to start another company. Built this with a friend. We ended up selling it for a good amount of money. I'm not allowed to legally tell you how much, but enough to make me quite happy. Took some time off, traveled the world for a little bit after that. Ended up really loving New York and wanted to move there specifically to do this fintech stuff. And that's exactly what I did. So worked at a few different finance companies on Wall Street. I worked at one company that's a mortgage lender. When I was there, they were doing about $8 billion a year in mortgages. It was my job to basically help bring them into the 21st century. In other words, build out some advanced automation features and a website and stuff like that. So we ended up building some things for them. I helped put together a team there, hired a bunch of people, made sure that we were working on the product correctly. We built basically a system that you type in an address, we would automatically appraise that property, right? So we're using some machine learning and stuff like that to figure out what the value of the property is. We're automatically able to suggest a mortgage for you. This is probably the type of mortgage that you can get. You pick that mortgage. All this stuff is done using AI. You can pick that mortgage, and then we help you actually go through the whole process of getting a mortgage, like all the documents you need. And these are commercial mortgages. So you need to have like appraisals go in there. There's all sorts of things they need to do for a commercial mortgage. But yeah, I think that product to date, I think it's probably done about 100 billion in mortgages. So it's pretty cool to have built a product like that from scratch. Definitely a valuable thing. After that company, I went to go work for Voyager. You guys may have heard of them. They've been in the news lately. They're kind of something that got messed up with this whole 3AC debacle. But when I was there, Voyager was basically a company that didn't exist. We were in a WeWork. There's 4 of us. I was employee number 4. I helped basically hire everybody at that company. Basically helped architect exactly how it's going to work. I built the first version of the iOS app, the iPhone app, before we hired a much better programmer for iOS than me. My iPhone programming days are far behind me. But yeah, that company, basically what we were doing is we're a broker for the crypto world. So kind of like Coinbase, you can buy and sell different crypto assets, Ethereum, Bitcoin, that sort of thing. That company, when we started again, was zero. Pretty quickly built up, ended up being worth, I think, $2 billion at its peak. Very good for my stock options. That worked out quite well. Made a good chunk of change on those call options, on those stock options. Luckily sold them close to around the peak. I'm the type of person that when I make 2,000% returns, I want my money. And this was exactly one of those situations. So basically sold it, made a bunch of cash, and then used that money basically to start this business, Lumi Wealth, right? Now, Lumi Wealth, what are we about? What do we do at Lumi Wealth? So we're basically all about helping people have better investment returns using technology, right? So I used to work on Wall Street. I saw the types of things that, a lot of these like billionaires and 100 millionaire type people would do. They would have the types of investment returns that people could only dream of, 100% a year, 200% a year consistently, right? These are types of investments that most people can't get access to. That bothered me. I don't like that, right? I don't like the fact that, rich people just have all these crazy resources to get a heck of a lot richer. So we set out with Lumi Wealth to change that. I think the best way to change that is to use technology, right? To basically, we're doing really 2 things. We're helping investors be more intelligent with the way that they invest. So we're using data science and back testing and those types of techniques to make sure that we're making good decisions when we invest, more intelligence around that. We're big believers in AI and that sort of thing. And then also helping create new types of assets, which we haven't gone down that path just yet, but we do have a class on that called blockchain programming that allows you to create these new types of assets, even like video games and stuff like that on the blockchain, which I think is a very interesting way to provide new types of investment products for people to actually make much better investment returns. And so that's what Lumi Wealth is all about. Right now, we do a lot of classes on this stuff. We obviously teach all these different things. but we're also working on a website that we'll be releasing hopefully in the next month or so. That's going to make this even easier for you guys to get access to this type of technology. All right, so that's Lumi Wealth. We're all about trying to bring the types of investment products that the rich people typically have and bring that to the masses. And we want to use technology to do that. All right. So that's who I am. That's Lumi Wealth. That's my baby. We've been working on this for 3 years, and hopefully 30 years from now, it'll be even a huge company one day. We also have a YouTube channel that I suggest you guys check out. And I see that you guys are typing some stuff out. I'll read those comments in a second, but let me share my YouTube channel our YouTube channel with you guys as well. For some reason that's not going into the chat. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you guys can see. There we go. There you go. Okay. So I posted our YouTube channel. So you guys should definitely check this out. We have a lot of free content in here. So if you go into basically on YouTube, you could search for Lumi Wealth, right? And we'll pop up there, or you could just follow the link that I sent. We have a lot of really good stuff in here. We have all these past free classes on all the different things that we do, right? Including options here. We have how to build trading bots. We have a bunch of things in here from our different classes, getting started with blockchain programming. So lots of good free content in there. We have some demos of some of our strategies, right? So you can see how those basically work. We have a lot of interviews with different people in the investment industry. So for example, here's an interview I did with someone named John Ewing, something like a year or two ago around the pandemic. He manages a $600 million hedge fund. So we had a pretty cool discussion around that and his investment philosophy. Here's another one that I did with Cliff Frazier. He's a COO of a real estate investment company. Manages some like $200 million worth of assets, and some other good stuff in here. We're talking about a bunch of different things on DeFi and whatnot. We also have our testimonials in here if you want to watch some of our past students and what they thought about the courses. You don't have to take my opinion. You can see what these guys thought. We're adding more and more all the time, so we've got a bunch in here that you guys can check out. And then a bunch of other things. We put up a lot of free stuff, a lot of free content. So make sure that you subscribe to our channel. Make sure that you hit that bell button. I don't have it here because I'm logged in as myself, so I don't have that button. But for you, you have a subscribe button and you'll have a little bell. Make sure you hit those so you get the updates as these things come out. All right. Cool. So that's our YouTube. We also have a Discord channel. And for those of you that don't know what Discord is basically this right here. And I'm putting this link into the chat as well. This is Discord here. It's kind of like Slack. It's like a chat room type thing. We have a lot of our past students on here, a lot of potential students going forward. If you want to get to know other people in our community, this is definitely the way to do it. A lot of our channels are quite active, especially our crypto channel tends to be quite active. Lots of people talking about different things in here. So you can get to know some of our past students. You can get to know some of our future students. You can just get to know other people that have the same interests as you in algo trading. This is a great place to get to know others in the space as well. All right. So we got that Discord there. And then also I just want to say, please ask questions throughout the presentation. Don't feel like you have to wait until the end, right? It's much more interesting when this is an interactive presentation instead of me talking at you. The reason why we do this live is so that you can ask your questions and we can have that discussion. So please don't leave your questions until the end. If you have a question, just type it out and I'll read your question. I'll try to answer it as we go. All right. Cool. Okay. And then let me get to know two more people here that wrote in as Y King. Welcome. I see international flight attendant. That sounds like a very cool job, by the way. Probably seen some really cool things around the world. No programming experience. Again, no programming experience. That's fine. If you guys don't know how to code, our classes are made to be very beginner friendly. So even if you don't know how to code, we can get you up to speed pretty quickly. And you really don't have to be like a hardcore programming expert to do this stuff. We try to make it as simple as possible. So even if you have no programming experience, I wouldn't be too worried about that. I've taught people that barely knew how to use a computer, could barely open up a folder on their computer, and was able to get them to run bots. So I'm very confident that we can get you guys to do this too, no matter what your skill level is. And then you also says, King also says, I have about 5 years trading options and the Forex markets. Very cool. Awesome. Again, I mentioned earlier, we do also have a class on options trading. I'm going to share that link one more time here in case you're interested in our options trading class. There's that link in there as well. So if you're interested in doing this stuff for options, we do have a class specifically on that too, right? It is a little bit more advanced. If you don't have programming experience, I'd recommend that you take this class first, the algorithmic trading class first, and then do the options class afterwards. Just because the option stuff can be a little bit more complicated. As you can imagine, options themselves are more complicated. So building algorithms for them is also harder. Cool. So yeah, so if you take those two together, it'd be good. Richard says he's a truck driver and Alaskan commercial fisherman. Wow, that's very cool. I've watched those TV shows around the Alaskan fishermen. That sounds like a really crazy job. Would love to try some of the lobsters and stuff that you get. I mine helium, pi, and coin. Very cool. Helium is actually awesome, by the way. I heard that they have like a $5 cell phone plan now, which is really cool. And looking to learn everything blockchain, never coded, but want to learn. Okay, awesome. So yeah, so Richard, by the way, this presentation is about algorithmic trading. We do have classes more specific to blockchain as well. You might be interested in our blockchain programming class, which if we go here, this is the blockchain programming class right here. You might want to check that out, which will get really deep into like the blockchain type stuff. And I think you'll probably find that very interesting if you are into this kind of crypto type stuff. It's taught by Alexandra, really smart girl, and really good teacher as well, actually, on this stuff. She's built some really cool things. So that's this class for the blockchain. All right. Okay, but today we are talking about algorithmic trading. So let's get into the details behind it. All right. So first and foremost, what is algorithmic trading? All right. So algorithmic trading is basically using software to analyze data and automatically make trades. Okay. And sometimes actually people will even opt to not have the machine automatically place the trades. What they will do is they will simply get trade alerts, or they'll use data science to help come up with better trading ideas, right? So you don't necessarily have to have this thing trade for you, even though most people do want to have that because, why not? It makes your life easier, right? But there are some companies that don't do that, right? So basically, we're trying to use data to improve our investment returns, right? So there's a lot of things that we could do with that, right? So first of all, why do we want to do that, right? Like, why do we care about that, right? Well, first of all, when we're using trading algorithms, because we're able to go through so much data, we're able to get a picture of the world that a lot of people cannot see, right? You could do things like paying attention to news events constantly, 24 hours a day, and instantly responding to them, right? Let's say if some news breaks, one of the Google founders has some scandal or something like that, that's probably not very good for Google stock, right? Now, if you're a human being and you're listening to news like this, it might take you some time before that pops up on your radar, right? Because you're out eating, working, whatever you're doing, right? And you probably don't read news all day long, 24/7, right? And especially if it's for smaller companies, it's kind of even hard to find that, and things get lost in the shuffle, right? So an algorithm can basically search through all this information and be one of the first to respond, right? If Elon Musk tweets about Dogecoin, it's probably going to go through the roof, as it did before. You can have an algorithm that automatically listens to that and trades off of that, right? That's one example. You could also build automatic stock screeners, right? That can automatically invest in the best types of stocks or options, right? You can build bots that basically run 24/7, right? So I don't know about you, but I like to sleep, right? But the crypto markets and futures markets and Forex markets, they're open 24 hours. So you can miss a lot of things overnight. With a bot, that doesn't happen. It's constantly monitoring the internet for you, right? And there's a bunch of other things they can do with bots. They're faster. They're able to read more data. They're able to respond to events quicker. They're able to run 24 hours. There's a lot of really good advantages to using trading bots, right? But we could talk about that until we're blue in the face. But what I think is more interesting is seeing actual performance of companies that have done this, right? So there's a bunch of different hedge funds that do this sort of thing, right? Do the algorithmic trading, and they're all quite successful. They've been making a lot of money, right? So one example of that is Renaissance Technologies. Okay, there's a company that I think started in like the 80s or 90s when computers were like a new thing, right? It took them a while to figure out how to do the algo trading stuff because, well, they didn't really have the technology back then. What we can do now in like a day probably would have taken them months back then, because DOS computers and all those mainframes and whatever, right? It was a lot harder to do this stuff back then. But these guys basically started off as a math professor that started this company called Jim Simmons. It's a very interesting book about him here, by the way, called The Man Who Solved the Market. If you guys are interested in this stuff, I strongly suggest you guys read this book, right? And I put that in the chat as well, The Man Who Solved the Market. It's about Jim Simmons, the guy that started Renaissance Technologies. This guy, when they started off, again, it took them a while to figure out how to do this stuff. Eventually, they had some algorithms that they've built that were making them quite a bit of money. They're able to make some really good investment returns off of this stuff, right? It took them like a year or two to get there, but once they got going, it was really starting to make them a lot of money, right? As things moved on, they were able to start getting investors and really start to make a really kind of ridiculous amount of money. If you read this book about kind of the series of events that happened, the initial parts were difficult. It took some time to figure it out. But once they got some investors on board and once they were able to actually crack the code, these guys were making so much money that I swear to you, if they had literally a printing press in their house, it wouldn't make them as much money. Jim Simmons is one of the richest people on earth. I think he's worth like $20 billion last time I checked. All the employees that were there got incredibly rich. Like there's these stories in here of like employees that bought like $20 million mansions and like forgot about them, right? Because they had so much cash that they'd bought things and they'd buy things and forget about them. They would be like, the type of thing where they could like drive a Ferrari off a cliff and not even care, that kind of money. So really interesting story. I strongly suggest that you guys read this book if you're interested in the topic. But to tell you kind of about their performance, so they've been the last time I checked, they had about $110 billion of assets, right? And they've consistently, and this is over a long period of time, by the way, on average, over 30 years, they've made around 39% average returns, right? So that means that during a really good year, so for example 2021, these guys made like 150% or something like that last year. Mind you, this is very difficult to do with $100 billion, right? It's a lot easier to make money if you have like $500,000 or $1 million, but when you have 100 billion, it gets really difficult to make those types of investment returns. But they're still kicking. They still made 150%. In 2021, which is incredible. And then they barely ever lose money too, right? Like this is in 2008, they went through 2008 and didn't lose any money, which is crazy, right? The whole stock market fell 50% and these guys are still laughing. They're still making money. I think in their entire career, I think there's only one quarter that they've ever lost money for 30 years. You know what I mean? So this is very good. They make 39% on average. Okay, so how does that compare to what other people make, right? So they say it's pretty difficult to beat the stock market, right? If you're an investor and you beat the stock market, good for you. You did a good job, right? But most people, when they get started, they tend to underperform the S&P 500. But in either case, it's kind of the benchmark that we compare things to, right? Is how well is the stock market doing and how are we doing relative to that, right? So the stock market on average does about 10% a year, right? Give or take, it depends on the year, right? But around 10% a year on average, right? So if you took $1,000 and you put into stock market for 30 years, and just waited, right, that $1,000 would have turned into $17,000. That's great. That's why they tell you take your retirement money, put it into the stock market. It's definitely a very good idea, right? However, if you, instead of getting that 10% return, if you got Renaissance's 39% return, you're not going to get 4 times more money. You're going to get a lot more than 4 times more money. That's because of compounding, right? Albert Einstein said compound interest is the most powerful force on earth. And he's not kidding. Like, it really is quite crazy. You're not making, it's 10% versus 40%. So it's not, you don't get 4 times more at the end. You get 4 times more every single year. And that builds up much faster over time, right? So, you get $100 and you have 140, and then the 140, you get 40% off that, and then that 40% off that other number. And it really starts to shoot up quite quickly, 40% a year. So as an example, if you took $1,000, if you put that in the stock market, you have $17,000 after 30 years. If you took that $1,000 and put into Renaissance instead, you would have had $19.5 million. You would have had 1,000 times more money if you invested with Renaissance than if you just put into the stock market. It is a very, very significant difference. This is why Jim Simmons is one of the richest men on earth, right? That's the guy that started this hedge fund, Renaissance. That's why his employees are extravagantly rich. These guys make, I think, like an entry-level position at Renaissance is like $1 million a year. That's like base salary, but these guys make like a really, really, really a lot of money. They're all spectacularly rich, the guys that started Renaissance Technologies, right? But they're not the only ones. There's a lot of other companies that are doing quite well in the space. Two Sigma is another one. Last time I checked, they had 60 billion in assets. It's probably a lot more than that now. These guys consistently beat the stock market, do very well for themselves. I met some guys at Two Sigma, very smart people, really good hedge fund. Citadel is another one. These guys are a huge company. The guy that owns Citadel, he's one of the richest people on earth. Citadel does a lot of stuff in the space. They have an algorithmic trading hedge fund, which does quite well for them. But then they also have a lot of other stuff. They're actually the back end to Robinhood, so they make a lot of money on like dark pools and market making. They're really, really making a lot of money, these guys, Citadel. Bridgewater is another one. Although these guys, they don't use algorithms to trade. They use algorithms to help inform what to trade. And then there's a person that actually pushes the button. But it is, I think, the biggest hedge fund on earth, run by Ray Dalio. You might have heard of him in the news. He's been really in the media lately. Very, very smart guy. Last time I checked, they had about 140 billion in assets, probably a lot bigger than that now. And then there's another one, and this is by all means is not an exhaustive list. There's a heck of a lot more companies than this that are doing very, very well using algorithms to trade. But this is just a couple of the bigger ones. D.E. Shaw is another one. There's a very famous person that used to work here, and let me know if you guys know who this person is. I ask this question every time. So type it into the chat if you know who used to work here at D.E. Shaw. There's a really good story behind that. I'll tell you in a second, but D.E. Shaw is basically, last time I checked, $50 billion in assets. Same thing. They make algorithms. They write software code that invests for them. There's a lot of different things that they use to invest. There's all sorts of different trading algorithms that they use. And back in the day, there's a man that you for sure have heard of. Was at one point one of the richest people on earth. A little hint who this might be. Actually, funny enough, we're on his website here, right? This guy named Jeff Bezos used to work at D.E. Shaw. So you guys may have heard, his biography, kind of his history. Jeff Bezos, he started off on Wall Street, actually working at D.E. Shaw, which is an algorithmic trading company. Yeah, exactly. Y King. Perfect. Good job. Jeff Bezos. Perfect. Yeah. So Jeff started back in D.E. Shaw back in the day. They paid him very well, worked on Wall Street, basically helped write software code for this company and helped do data analysis. And when he worked at D.E. Shaw, they had so much data and he was doing all this analysis. He noticed that the internet was growing at this crazy fast pace. It was something like, 30,000% a year or something ridiculous like that, right? And he's like, wow, this internet thing sounds like it could be a good idea. right? Maybe this could be something that works out well. So they set off to build, Amazon, the bookstore, and then eventually, the bigger things happen after that. But he went to go talk to his boss at D. Shaw and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting this company. What do you think?" His boss obviously tried to get him to stay. He decided to quit anyways. Started Amazon, and the rest is history. Richest man on earth. So when you're in this space, when you're in this algo trading space, you're definitely in the company of some really, really successful people. There's been some really, really very rich people to come out of this space. Everything from Jim Simmons at Renaissance, one of the world's richest men, the guy that runs Citadel, one of the richest men in the world as well. I forget his name right now, but it'll come to me at some point. Jeff Bezos, honestly, some of the richest people in the world have worked in this space. So you're definitely in the right area if you want to figure out how to make some money. All right. Cool. So that's algo trading. Let's talk a little bit about the different types of algorithms that you can build, because I think there's a misconception about this. I think most people, when they think algo trading, they think day trading. You can definitely use algorithms to do day trading. Absolutely. That is one thing that you can do with it. There's two different ways that you can kind of do that. You can use technical analysis, right, which is kind of like the trading view type stuff. Looking at charts using MACD or RSI or whatever to trade, right? That's one type. You could also use machine learning, which is basically artificial intelligence, right? You use AI to trade for you. We teach you how to do both of these things in the class. But then there's a lot of other algorithms. I think people are new to trading. They immediately jump into day trading and they think that's the best way to make money. It's actually, from my experience, the people that do day trading, they tend to be the least good performers, right? I've seen people make a heck of a lot more money doing these other things, right? Like, for example, event-based. Sorry, my camera is doing something a little funny here. So I can fix my camera. There we go. Okay. So day trading is that it can actually be kind of challenging to make money in day trading. You can definitely do it. I've seen people do it, but it's not the easiest way to do it, right? So there's a lot of other ways that they can make money using algorithms. For example, using event-based algorithms, right? So this is where you're going to be using basically news events, or if influencers are messaging about things, you're going to use that to trade, right? So if some new scandal comes out about Google, right, you want to have a bot that's automatically listening to this and will automatically sell that company as soon as bad news comes out, right? Or if Elon Musk tweets about Dogecoin, you want to be the first one to listen to that and buy Dogecoin, hold it for a bit and make money off that pop. I've seen our past students make a lot of money doing these event-based type algorithms, right? This could be very, very profitable, right? There's rebalancing and weights type algorithms, right? These are kind of where you're constructing your own types of ETFs that could be very smart, paying attention to different macroeconomic factors and things like that. These can be quite useful algorithms, can be quite powerful. And I think I'm going to show you a demo of one of these when we show the demo, right? Very, very useful types of algorithms. You don't trade as often, but you're just making sure that you're doing intelligent trades when you do it. Then there's also stock screeners and fundamental analysis, right? So this is where you're going to be looking through company financials, or you're going to be looking up maybe social media data about companies, right? Like, what do people think about Nike on Twitter? Is it getting better or is it getting worse? Do people like Adidas these days or not, right? And you can look at social trends to see, how are things heading for a company. You can look for smaller companies that might be due for a breakout. You can do the same thing with like crypto. You can search crypto coins and basically see like which coin might be doing something good today. Are they scams or not? Are they starting to do well, or is there a pop happening or not? There's a lot of really interesting things that you do with stock screeners or fundamental analysis. There's other types of algorithms as well. We're not going to get into details there, but these are kind of the bigger ones. Day trading, event-based, rebalancing or using weights, and stock screeners. These are some of the more popular types of algorithms, and we cover all of these inside of this class, and we give you a code on each one of these that you can use to do whatever you would like to do. All right. Okay, cool. All right, so let's show you a demo. All right, so I'm going to play again. This is pre-recorded because the stock market's closed right now, so I can't show you this live. I recorded this a few months back. All right, so I'm going to play this for you, and you guys can get an idea of what some of our algorithms look like and how they work and all that sort of thing. I'm going to play this, and let me know if you guys can hear the sound as well when this is going. All right, so I'll get started. Just type in the chat, please. Cool. Okay, so let's get into the demo. All right, so this is I'm going to show you a couple of different trading strategies that we show you first of all in the courses, and that you can employ yourself. It's pretty easy for you to get these up and running. I've had people that have never coded a day in their lives and have these strategies running within just a few weeks. So even if you don't know how to code, don't feel like you have to shy away from this, whatever. I'm going to be showing you a bunch of code here, but really it's not that difficult to learn. We've been able to teach a lot of people that have never coded before in their lives, right? Okay, so here, let's show you a demo of some of our different trading strategies. Yeah. So there's a couple I want to show you today. We have some new ones, like I was saying. Okay. So I want to show you, first of all, our fast trading strategy, just because a lot of people, whenever they think algo trading, they want to be able to trade really quickly, get in and out of things very fast, and analyze a lot of things. So what I'm doing here is I'm running this fast trading strategy. You see here, we go into our broker. It was nothing, and now it bought a whole bunch of stuff automatically by itself. Okay. And let me describe to you essentially what this strategy is doing. Okay. Here is the code. The code is fairly straightforward. It's not that long, right? So it looks like 160 lines of code, but a lot of it is boilerplate stuff, and a lot of it is like kind of just tracking things and whatnot. It's very easy for you guys to get something like this up and running. Essentially, what it does is it looks at these symbols here, right? SPY, gold, TLT, Microsoft, Tesla, etc. Right? We're looking at all those symbols and basically saying which one has done the best over the past 1 minute, right? And whichever one did the best, has had a momentum, the best momentum, it keeps the top four, okay? And it'll keep swapping them out. So if we watch this here, we see the top four we have right now is TLT, XPXS, XPXL, and MCHI. Those are best over 1 minute. You see that just swapped. We just bought some gold. So it sold TLT and it bought gold. Okay? And if we leave this running, you'll see basically you'll do this all day long, right? You don't have to be in front of your computer. You could have this thing running in the cloud. You could have this thing running off your computer, and it will just keep trading for you all day long, right? Now, this is a strategy that follows momentum, but you could just as easily do a lot of other things with this, right? You could use technical analysis for this, right? I know a lot of people like looking at charts and support resistance, that sort of thing. You could use that, right? You could use things like RSI or pivot points or VWAP, right? You could use all those types of things to influence which stocks you want to own and have like we have our top 10 stocks, and based on our criteria, we keep the top four, and you can trade throughout the day doing that sort of thing. So this is very flexible. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this. And this is just a demo to kind of show you, this fast trading, how it moves in and out. If we give it another minute, it should actually flip things around. We'll give it, so it executes once every minute. If we give it a little bit more time, it'll swap things out. Oh, there you go. Okay, it just did that. So it sold the gold. Remember, you guys saw the gold. It sold that, and it sold our MCHI. So we sold two of those things, and it bought SPY and it bought Microsoft, right? And that's because those have been the ones that are doing the best over the past minute, and just kind of hold on to them, right? So it's just a simple momentum strategy. But like I said, there's a lot of other things that you could convert this into. Use any kind of technical analysis you want or any kind of criteria that you want to do this for trading, right? This is something I'll be like throughout the day, intraday, quickly getting in and out of things, all right? All right, okay, so that's our fast trading strategy. Let's show you our technical analysis strategy, right? Because this one is, we could basically take what we did in the last one, okay? And we can do the same thing, or we could use essentially, what we did in the last one. We could apply this sort of stuff for technical analysis type of stuff, right? So what this one does is it's sorry, there's a question here on chat. I want to do trading. Day trading will help me with that. Yes, absolutely, will help you with day trading. Yeah. So last strategy that I just showed you, the fast trading, is very well suited for day trading, right? So what you would do is you would take something like that and combine it with maybe a technical. It depends on how you trade, right? If you trade, support resistance, if you trade using VWAP, if you trade using some sort of technical analysis, RSIs or Bollinger Bands or whatever, we could implement all that kind of stuff, right? So here is a technical analysis strategy. This one trades a little slower, but you can mix the two together, right? You can make it so that the last one that we had takes the top 4 stocks, right? This one, what it does is it trades based off of RSI, right? So it looks at the RSI of SPY, right? And if RSI falls below 33, okay, so it's looking at the RSI for SPY, and it has 2 stocks that it trades, okay? It has SPY and TLT, okay? It has the 2 of them, okay? And they're normally 60-40, which is kind of like what investment advisors recommend, 60% stocks, 40% bonds, right? But when the RSI gets too high on SPY, which means kind of like it's overbought, right, is what we call it with RSI terms. When it's overbought, then we say, okay, let's get out of SPY and only buy TLT. So we sell our SPY, go 100% to TLT. And then the opposite situation, when SPY falls too much and the RSI is low, then we will sell all of our TLT and only buy SPY, right? So it's changing weightings in our stocks based off of this criteria of a technical analysis, right? Technical indicator, okay? So if we see it trading right now, you'll see it bought 60-40 SPY, so 60% of money of 50,000 is put into SPY automatically, right? And TLT, the other 20,000, right? The other 40%. Okay. If this is a time when SPY was too high, it would automatically sell SPY and get into TLT. Or if the opposite happened, if SPY fell a lot, it will do the flip as well. You could do this much faster. You could do this with many stocks throughout the day. And you can use a lot of other types of technical analysis as well. So we use this library, right? You could use Bollinger Bands, right? You could use, some of these things, I don't even know what they are. Average true range, you could use that. Bollinger Bands, you could use moving averages, crossing, you use MACD, all sorts of different things that you could use to trade with. RSI, stochastic RSI, right? Lots and lots of different things that you could use to trade. And you can trade throughout the day, buying and selling things automatically based on your criteria, right? You don't have to be at your computer. You don't have to be paying attention to it. You can set up stop losses automatically, all that kind of stuff you can get through the bot, right? Okay, so that's our technical analysis strategy, right? Okay, I'm going to show you some cool new ones that we just made, right? So this is one that I think will probably resonate with a lot of you guys. This is a really fun one that we actually just created, and I'm actually in the process of testing exactly how well it does, but it is definitely a very interesting strategy. This is not the right, okay, we're going to get out of this. So this is a strategy that we call Reddit sentiment, okay? You get access to this strategy. If you join our classes, you get access to this strategy within our classes, right? We'll give this to you. You can use this, you can modify this. It's part of our library of different algorithms, right? Okay, so let me run this one here, okay? And let me explain to you kind of what it's doing, all right? So this strategy, what it does is it goes to, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Wall Street bets. I feel like this has blown up in popularity recently. And of course, if you guys follow this sort of thing or know about this sort of thing, it's been influencing a lot of stocks lately, right? The increases in GameStop was because of this channel on Reddit. Basically, I think it's now, when I last checked, there's 1 million, but someone told me there's 4 million people on here. Everyone's discussing stocks, talking about, what to buy, what to sell, that sort of thing. And it actually has quite a bit of predictive power where, GameStop shot up a lot because of what happened on Wall Street bets. There's some people that got going and basically went through the roof, right? GameStop, AMC was another one that's like a big, we call it meme stock or Wall Street bet stock. And there's a few other ones that are happening more recently, like Wish, and a few other ones that maybe you guys have missed out on. But if you had this bot that we've built out here, you won't have to, right? So what it does is it automatically downloads the hot topics within Wall Street Bets, right? Downloads, you could specify exactly how much you want to download, right? And then it looks over all of those topics, reads all the comments, and uses some artificial intelligence, uses a bit of machine learning type stuff to figure out which stocks have the best sentiment, okay? And sentiment being whether people are saying they like them or not, right? I hate Wish, or I love Wish, or I think Wish is going to the moon, right? It's going to read all those comments and tell you which stocks are, first of all, talked about the most and which ones have the best sentiment. So we see here, Apple, for example, does not have a very good sentiment. It's widely talked about. People don't seem to like it on Wall Street Bets right now. Ones that they do like is this one here, 0.43 Wish. This one's been a hot topic for a while. If you look at the stock charts, by the way, it's gone up a lot. It's doubled over the past week or two, right? So that sentiment is high up there. We have GOEV. I don't even know what that is. This is talking about, people are talking about this on Wall Street Bets. But in either case, what it did is automatically read all that kind of stuff and then bought the top ones for you, right? So let's take a look here. Boom. These are all the top stocks on Wall Street Bets, right? It will automatically hold on to these and read actually these comments throughout the day and throughout the week. So you could have this running in a server, running on your computer. It will automatically buy, in this case, the top 4 stocks that are talked about on Wall Street Bets. Not only the ones that are the most popular, but also the ones that people have the best sentiment for, that people say they really like. Look at that. We just bought them and all of a sudden our money is already starting to go up. It's kind of fun to watch. Yeah, so this is a very interesting strategy. We're going to be actually testing this over the next little bit, and I'm thinking about putting some of our own funds money into this as well. All right, so look at that. We literally just bought it, and look at what happened to our stock price. It's literally within a minute, it's shooting up like crazy, right? And what this strategy will do is it'll just keep reading this all day long, right? And see, has it changed, right? If sentiments have changed, it will get rid of it, right? Or if sentiments have gone up for one, it will buy it, right? So automatically be doing this stuff all day long. All right, definitely really cool. It's amazing how fast it's going up. So we have a question here. I have no coding experience. Will this program sync it to my trading platform and auto execute the trades? It depends what trading platform you use, right? So if you have no coding experience, I wouldn't be too worried about it. We have a lot of people in our classes with no coding experience, and they've all been able to get bots up and running. So I wouldn't be too surprised about that. I wouldn't be too worried about that, right? Whether it links with your trading platform, it depends on what trading platform you're using, right? We have 2 brokers that we work with right off the bat. Yeah, so we use Alpaca, we use Interactive Brokers, and we're going to be adding in TradeStation soon. That's the next one that we're adding in. So if you use TradeStation, we'll probably have this built in within the next 2 months, right? So we are definitely going to be adding that in soon, right? For Thinkorswim, they don't have API access. They have API access to something called TD Ameritrade. They don't give you access to the Thinkorswim platform. It's kind of a little weird there. So we recommend, actually, if you want to do algo trading, TD Ameritrade is really not the best, right? They don't allow you to do paper trading, that sort of thing. And to be honest with you, it's really easy to switch brokers, right? To open up an account with Alpaca, honestly, I think you can do this within 5 minutes, right? It's really easy to do that. So we work with them. We work with Interactive Brokers. We're going to be adding in TradeStation very soon. And then we're going to keep adding in more and more as we go. So you definitely have a lot of options there. This is amazing. Look at this. We literally just bought this and we're already making a bunch of money. The stock chart just shooting straight up. Yeah, changing brokers. Yeah, I agree with you. Right, changing brokers is not very difficult. It's really easy to do that. I really like TradeStation. They have great APIs, so we're going to be working with them soon. They also have crypto. They have futures. They have a lot of other stuff. So TradeStation's a really good one that we're going to be adding in. It's amazing, guys. I got to start running my own money in this strategy. We literally just built this 2 days ago, so we're still testing it out. But it's amazing. Look at this. Literally, in the course of this conversation, we've already made $300 or something like that. It's just in the course of our talking right now. Cool strategy, right? So that's our Reddit trading strategy. If you have no coding experience, really not that hard for you guys to get this up and running. It's part of our code library, so you can actually start off with this. You can modify it however you want. You don't have to be an expert programmer to do this stuff, guys. You don't have to be some whiz kid, because we give you a lot of these templates that you can start off with. All right. Okay, cool. So that's a Reddit sentiment. I'm going to show you one more. That one actually is really cool. I gotta run that one. I'm going to do that after this. Going to run in the cloud and have it go for a few days, test it out for a couple of days, because that's pretty impressive how well it did that quickly. Like I said, we just built this one like 2 days ago. Another one I want to show you guys, and this is one that we actually just put a bunch of our money into. I really like this strategy, and I'll tell you why, right? And I'll tell you why through a back test, okay? So we teach you not only how to build the bots, we also teach you how to do the research behind it, as to, you know, how are you going to be picking a strategy? Is this a good strategy for you to do or not, right? How do you find these strategies? And this is one way they can figure out whether a strategy is good for you or not, okay? What I'm doing right now is I'm running a back test, okay? So there's a back test for a strategy that we call diversified leverage, okay? And basically what we're doing is we're going from 2012, right? We're doing this because some of these ticker symbols didn't exist until 2012. From 2012 until 2021, so 9 years, okay? And we're seeing how would our strategy have done over the past 9 years? What kind of results would we have gotten, all right? So the strategy in particular, the one that we're doing, is called this diversified leverage strategy, okay? And basically what it is this is like modern portfolio theory, right? If you talk to someone like a Ray Dalio, or you talk to like some of the most prominent investors in the world, they all tell you diversify well. And the reason why you diversify well is because you want to make sure that you reduce your risk. And if you reduce your risk, you can take on more, you can actually take on more risk and make more money, right? Essentially. So what this is we have a bunch of different ticker symbols we're in here. We're in the leveraged NASDAQ, so TQQQ, right? So it's the triple NASDAQ, right? So 3x the returns of the NASDAQ. If you look at the stock chart on this thing, it's wild. It's like up 1,600% in 2 years or something like that. It's crazy, right? But of course, also has its risks. There's a downside as well, right? So we want to protect against that. So we have 20% of our money into that. 10% of our money into UPRO, which is the leveraged S&P 500, 3x leveraged. Then we have 10% of our money into UDOW, which is a leveraged Dow Jones. Then we have 10% of our money in emerging markets, right? Leveraged emerging markets, right? 35% of our money in leveraged treasury bonds. So now we diversify, right? So we have in total 50% of our money in stocks, right? In leveraged stocks, right? And diversified around the world a little bit, right? And then we have the rest of our money in something to counterbalance that, right? To reduce our risks, to give us some good hedging, and to improve our returns without taking on too much risk, right? So we do that by having leveraged treasury bonds. So usually when stocks fall, treasuries go up and vice versa. So they're a really good hedge to have in a portfolio. We also have Barclays VIX, right? This is an interesting one. Basically, you lose money regularly, but when things fall apart, if like the stock market crashes, it'll go like up 5x. You'll make 500% of your money in like a day, right? And that's a really good hedge because if things fall, you want to be able to protect yourself, right? And we also have 5% of our money in gold. So this is one that actually I've put some of our money into, right? Not all, but some good chunk of our money into the strategy. And I'll tell you why, right? When we look at the back test, what we can see here is, look at this. So this strategy, okay, over that same time period, right? Over this 2012 to 2021, that 9 years there. So January 1st, 2012 to January 1st, 2021, right? So 9 years, okay? Over that time period, the S&P 500 was up 17.5%, which is nice, right? If you were in this strategy, you would have made 28.9%. You would have almost doubled the stock market's returns, okay? Which is amazing, right? Like obviously that's, if you guys do the math behind this, this is the difference between when you retire, you could retire with $1 million versus 10 million, right? That's like the difference, right? Like it's a very, very large difference when you have double the stock market's returns. Huge, huge payouts. This could be worth $9 million to you in the future. You know what I mean? This kind of differential, right? But okay, so it's great to have a higher returns. That's awesome, right? But we're not just talking about higher returns here. We're talking about higher returns while taking on the same amount or less risk, okay? So over that same time period, so we doubled the stock market's returns, but we also had only a little bit of increase in our volatility. It's not too much more volatile, meaning this up and down thing. And our max drawdown is almost exactly the same, right? So meaning from the peak to the bottom, right? This is in last year, right? March, 2020, stock market fell 30%. From the very top to the very bottom, it fell 33%, okay? If you're invested in this strategy, you would have also only lost about 33% at the same time period. So we have the same risk as the stock market, but we're making double the returns. That to me sounds incredibly impressive, right? Which is why we're putting some of our money into this, right? We diversify among different strategies. We don't put everything into one, but this was one when we're looking at 30% a year returns, sounds very appealing to me, right? So this one went ahead. When we go in here, you could see it automatically bought all these things for us, right? All the different ones. This would be a pain, by the way, to do on your own. And the key is that it doesn't just buy these, it rebalances. And that's the key here, right? Because you'll have days like, for example, TQQQ will shoot up, in a week's time, will shoot up 100% or something like that. When it shoots up 100%, you want to rebalance your portfolio and put money somewhere else. And that's how you actually get the safety along with the very good gains, right? It's intelligent portfolio construction, and that's how you end up making all the money. That's why having like a robot that'll automatically look at the stuff and rebalance for you is really important, because that's how you're actually going to end up with these returns. You can't just go and buy them and that's it, right? You actually have to be rebalancing and trading them on a regular basis, right? So I very much like this strategy as well. We have our own money, like I said, in this as well, and so far been doing, we've been making good money. So I'm happy with it so far. All right, cool. All right, so that's a couple of our strategies. We've showed you everything from our day trading, to trading off of Reddit, to, building intelligent portfolios. I have a few more that I can show you guys. We have a whole library, like I said, there's tons of different things. We have things where we trade off of like macroeconomic things where we use like the debt, where the Fed Reserve, that they take on debt, we trade off of that. We're building out a bunch of options trading strategies as well, which we're going to have a separate webinar to kind of explain a bunch of that stuff where, you can trade volatility and all that sort of thing. We have lots and lots of different strategies, and we just keep growing more and more of them. So if you guys join our courses, not only are we going to teach you how to do this stuff, we're going to give you access to that big library. So you'll be able to either use it right out of the box, or modify it to do whatever you want it to do. You'll have access to that sort of stuff. All right. Cool. So that's the demo. All right, cool. What'd you guys think about that? All right, hope you guys enjoyed that. I've been answering your questions here in the chat during this chat. Carlos also asked, I'm just going to answer it directly here. So Carlos asks, can we integrate with TradingView? And the answer is yes, we can definitely integrate with TradingView. It's not built directly into LumiBot. We haven't done that yet. But if you're interested in doing that and you want to write the code for that, that's definitely possible. They have APIs and we can connect to that. If you're interested in doing something like that, there's actually been quite a few students that have asked about that. So we're probably going to be doing a lot more tech around TradingView going forward as well. I know a lot of people are very interested in that. So thank you for that question. Alan asks, what brokers can you use the algo with? Right now, we can integrate with Alpaca, Interactive Brokers, Coinbase, Binance, and KuCoin. And we're planning on adding in more. We're planning on adding in what's it called? TD Ameritrade. That's another one that we really want to add in sometime soon. And we'll probably add in quite a bit more brokers over time as well. So, right now there's about 5 or 6 brokers they can use, but we keep adding more and more and more. But to be honest with you, when you're doing this sort of thing, I'd recommend they use a different broker for your algorithms anyways. If you have your own personal money that, you invest manually with, you don't want to have an algorithm also trading in that same account. And that's just because you will end up confusing the algorithm. So as you can imagine, if you build an algorithm that like automatically buys based on RSI or whatever, and then you go in and you make a trade, you're going to confuse it and it's going to be buying things in the wrong proportions and all that. So I very strongly recommend that you have a different account for your bots than you have for your regular trading. And I really strongly also recommend using, if you're trading stocks or options, Interactive Brokers is really, really good for options. It has some of the best commissions for options. So it's one of the cheapest to use. Alpaca is kind of like Robinhood. It's free trades, right? So it's really good for stock trading. KuCoin is very, very good for crypto trading. You could use margin, you could use futures. It actually has pretty good commissions as well. So, we have a couple of brokers there. I strongly recommend that you use those brokers. Not every broker can trade algorithms, right? There's some of them can, some of them can't. But we've chosen ones I think make a lot of sense. And we will be adding in quite a bit more as well. So thanks for that question, Alan. Cool. Okay, so let me tell you about our full course. So this is a nice little crash course into algorithmic trading. Hopefully you guys learned a lot from this, right? If you guys are interested in taking our full course, this is it here, and we'll talk about all the details. I'm going to share the link. I'm going to put this into the chat here. Okay. So here's our full course, Algorithmic Trading course. It's a 12-week long course. There are 3 different plans that you can sign up with. We have a self-directed, a live class plan, and then a project help tutoring plan. They all build on each other, right? So everything inside of self-directed is also in live classes. Everything in live is also in project help tutoring. Live has historically been our most popular, although lately project help and tutoring has become our most popular plan. A lot more people are choosing to buy this lately. But to tell you about them, so our self-directed plan, basically, you work at your own pace. You get access to pre-recorded videos, right? So you get to watch the past recordings of these classes, and you get access to so you get access to the recordings of the videos. You get access to all the code, everything that we showed you today, all the algorithms. You're going to have access to that. You'll be able to see them and modify them and know exactly how they work. You get access to our community. That's like our Discord, and we have private channels in there as well, like our discussion hour channel, or discussion hour channel, I guess. We have this once a week where everyone kind of gets on a voice chat. Instead of typing things out, you get to talk to other people. You get to talk to some of our past students, see how they're doing with their algorithms, what's been successful for them, what's not been successful. A lot of really good community-based stuff there, right? So you get access to the past recordings, you get access to our community, and you get access to all of our code with the self-directed plan. With the live classes, you get all of that, plus you get access to the live classes themselves, and you get a lot more support with that too. So basically, it's kind of like this, like it's a live class, except it's over Zoom, which means that you can share your screen, you can turn on your microphone, you can talk, right? So if you have any questions, I'm the one that teaches this class. So if you have any questions around anything that's going through the class, you can ask it right then and there, right? So it really makes things a lot easier to learn, right? Instead of watching videos and, if you have a question, you can ask it, right? And you can get on a call or whatever. But I think it's a lot, I definitely have seen our students go through this. They get a lot more out of the live classes. It kind of psychologically forces you to show up and actually work on it. But then also when you're in this live class, if you're stuck somewhere, if you don't understand something, you can ask those questions and we do it back and forth. When you're in the live classes, you also get a chance to present your ideas and get feedback around it. So if you have a strategy that you're working on or whatever, you can present that. You can see how, what you might want to change or improve with it. You get to see other people's ideas. So there's a lot of interaction there. You get to meet other people in the class as well, right? Okay, so self-directed, pre-recorded classes, plus all the other things, right? Live classes, you get all of that. Plus, you get to join live classes and ask questions throughout the actual class itself. And then Project Help Tutoring is becoming probably one of our most popular plans lately, actually. And basically, it has all that. You get to join the live classes. By the way, the live classes, you could retake them as many times as you want, right? So let's say something happens and you're moving or you get a new job or whatever, then you can retake these classes as often as you want, right? So with Project Help Tutoring, you get all that, plus you get a lot more support. You get 10 hours of support, and to be honest with you, I don't really count the hours, so probably even more than 10 hours for the Project Help people that buy the Project Help plan. And then you also get access to our software engineers. So we have a team of software developers that can actually help you build out your own strategies, right? So you can get on the phone with them, explain to them, this is what I want to have built, and they can actually either write the entire thing for you if it's simple enough, or they can help you get started, or if you're stuck somewhere, they can build out a whole part for you. So you get access to 10 hours of our software engineers' time that can help you build all this type of stuff, right? So a lot of hand holding, a lot of help here with that project help and tutoring plan. Okay? So here are the prices for all those plans. This is self-directed. Again, you get lifetime access to our video library, lifetime access to all the code, all the things I showed you today, plus more. You get to see all those algorithms. You get access to our community. You get a lot of instructor support, and you get to join our weekly discussion hour. This is about $1,700, and there's also 3 and 5 month payment plans available if you want to use that, right? The live classes, which is again everything in the self-directed, plus you get to have 12 weeks of those live classes, is 2 hours per week. You get lots of dedicated live Q&A that you can get on phone calls and discuss things if you ever get stuck. You get access to all the future videos and code, any new code that we come out with, any new algorithms that we release, you're going to get access to that. You get help with 2 personal projects, right? You get to know your classmates as well. If you need help with your resume or interview prep, a lot of people take these classes for that. We'll help you out with that as well. And then you also get unlimited Q&A over a Discord chat if you need that. This is about $4,000. And again, 3 and 5 month payment plans are also available, right? And then becoming our most popular plan right now, our Project Help and Tutoring Plan. This one includes everything from the self-directed and the live classes, so you get everything in those 2. And then most importantly, you get access to a lot more support, right? So I basically don't even, we say 10 hours. I don't even count the 10 hours. If you need more help than that, that's no problem. And then, you get access to software developers as well. If you want someone to actually write software code for you, help you build your bot, write code, we can get that done for you as well, right? And Bill asks, what hours do the live classes run? And I'm about to get to that, so let me show you down here. Okay, so if you run through this, by the way, let me share this link with you guys. Actually, no, I already shared it with you. Never mind. So you have that link there. But you could read through all this stuff if you want. There's a bunch of things in there. I'll talk about when this class starts in a second. It's October 13th is when it starts, but I'll get to that, the details in a sec. Let's talk about the course curriculum first, though. Right, so the way this class is broken down is it's into 3 parts. It is a 12-week long class. Each part is 4 weeks long. Part 1 is getting all your fundamentals down, right? So week 1, we make sure that we set up everything on your computer. All the tools that you need to have is there. We introduce everything in the course. You get to know everyone else in the course too. There's introductions. Everyone gets to know each other. So if you want to work together or something like that, you can do that. Week 2 is a quick Python refresher. So if you have never done Python before, we're going to cover pretty much the entire Python language in 1 day. It's going to be an intense lecture, but you will learn a lot very quickly, right? If you have done Python before, it's only 1 week. We don't spend too much time on this, so you don't have to worry about this being super beginner. If you do know how to code, then we're going to breeze past that very quickly. Then we're going to get into pandas, right? So we're going to discuss pandas is basically a data science library. It helps you download data, analyze it, that sort of thing. So we'll talk about how to use pandas, and then we'll talk about how to apply it to the world of finance, right? How do we get financial data? How do we want to analyze that financial data? How do we graph it out? How do we get it in different technical indicators? All that kind of stuff we'll do in week 4 and 3, right? So that's part 1. That's getting your fundamentals down. Part 2 is where we can really get into bot building. We've actually changed the class a little bit since here, right? Basically, part 2, weeks 1 through 4 in part 2, is we're going to set up a Lumi bot on your computer. We're going to make sure this thing is placing trades for you. Usually by this week 1 here, so the 5th week in the class, pretty much everyone will have this set up on their computer and placing trades to a broker, right? So we'll have that all set up for you. And then we're going to get into a lot about, how to do backtest. Backtest is basically simulated trading with data in the past. We'll show you how to do that sort of thing. We'll teach you how to analyze the performance of your algorithms, making sure that they're actually doing well. We'll show you a lot of different examples, right? We'll go through a case study. We have 1 week where we actually spend time where you guys will say, this is the kind of trading algorithm I want to build. and I'll actually sit down and I'll build it from scratch. So you'll see kind of the whole process of how to build this stuff. And if you have an idea, we can actually just build it on the spot there, right? So we do a lot of really cool stuff in part 2, getting into back testing and all that kind of stuff. And then part 3 is just going to give you lots and lots of different examples, right? We're going to make sure this bot is set up, trading on different brokers, and you're going to see lots of different examples of bots. We're going to show you bots that use technical analysis to trade. We're going to show you rebalancing bots. We're going to show you a stock screener. We're going to show you how to use machine learning to trade, basically artificial intelligence, right? How to use AI to place trades for you. And we're going to go through a lot of different types of strategies here that I think you guys will very much like. All right. So that's basically the 12 weeks of the class. There's also a guarantee, by the way. And I feel very confident giving out this guarantee because I've never seen anyone not be able to do this. But if you can't build a bot by the end of the class, assuming you actually show up to class, you show up and you put in the time. And if you have issues, you get on a call with me, right? But if you can't have a bot built, and I've never seen this happen before, even with people that are very computer illiterate, then not only will I give you all your money back, but I'll give you an extra $600 for your time, right? But I can guarantee you, probably by week 5, you will have a bot trading for you and placing these trades and doing all these things for you, right? But guaranteed by the end of the class, you'll have this thing running, right? Nice little signature. This is legally binding. So if you guys, I guarantee you this will happen, right? There's a couple questions here I want to address. Richard says, got to go. Thank you for the overview. Super excited to start taking courses with Lumi Wealth. Awesome. That's great, Richard. Well, I don't know if you've signed up yet or not, but if you did, welcome on board. If you haven't yet, then, looking forward to it. And I'll see you on October 13th. This is very cool. So speaking of which, Y King, thank you. That's awesome. So speaking of which, so we have the next class coming up for algorithmic trading starts on October 13th. So pretty soon, it's in about 3 weeks, right? The class is 12 weeks long, excluding holiday breaks, which I believe Thanksgiving falls on it this time around. So we're going to exclude that. We recommend 8 to 12 hours per week for this, although that's a very loose requirement. Some people like to put in a lot more, some people put in less. Again, you can retake the classes as many times as you want. So, that's a very loose requirement. The class is going to be every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Pacific. And each class typically goes for about 2 hours. Usually 2 to 3 hours is how long these classes take. All right. And then if you want to buy this course, by the way, you click on it here, you select course. It would add it to your cart right here. By the way, if you add 2 or more courses to your cart, you automatically save 10%. You see it's here, automatically saving 10%. So saving $800 automatically for buying the 2 courses together. This should be one, right? And then you'd go and proceed to checkout, right? And then inside the checkout, you can pay with the payment plan right here. You can check this off here. You can pick a 3 or 5 month payment plan if that's what you're looking for. All right. Cool. Let me go back to the page here. All right, so that's the class, October 13th. So make sure you sign up for this very soon. The registration closes on October 6th. So if you guys are interested in this class, make sure you sign up soon because the registration is going to close very soon. All right. We cover 2 course projects inside of this class. Project 1 is about analyzing investment strategies. It's about the more data science side of things. Is this a good strategy? Back test it, see how it actually does for you. That's going to be project 1, and you'll get a chance to present that to the class, get feedback on it. Then project 2 is building a live trading robot, and that's something that's actually going to be trading for you live, executing against the broker and buying and selling stuff for you. All right, so that's going to be project 2, and you'll get a chance to demo that to the class as well. All right. Here's some more information about me. If you want to read more about myself, you can do that here. You can also search me on LinkedIn. I have a pretty unique last name. I don't think there's too many people like me in the world with that name. So you could look me up and see kind of my past stuff. Feel free to check me out. And then we also have a bunch of testimonials here. It's not all of them. There's only a couple. If you want more of the testimonials, go to our YouTube, and it's in this testimonials playlist here. We have a bunch of them that you can listen to. So, don't take my word for it. You can see, we have happy students, and we work very hard to make sure that people are happy taking our classes afterwards. But you can watch some of them here. A game, for example, came to us. He didn't know how to code when he came to our classes. He's now built some very cool stuff. He actually has his own business where he gives trading signals to others. And last I heard, he's making a couple $1,000s a month doing that, which is very cool. Very proud of him. Renee is another one that took our courses back in the day, built some very cool stuff. This guy knew how to code and was able to get a lot out of it. You can watch that video there too. And Sintayan, he's in and around our chat pretty often. If you go on Discord, you can probably get a chance to talk to him if you want to. But he's built some really cool stuff. Last time I heard, his bots are making him like 300-400% a year. That's amazing, right? I definitely love hearing those kind of stories from our students. But you can watch his video here and see how his stuff is doing, and take it from his own mouth, right? We have a couple other things here. We have Ronaldo took our class. It's all back in the day. Agim, there's another quote by him. Joel, he's taken quite a few of our classes too. You can read some of his reviews. And again, check us out on YouTube. They're all in here. Testimonials and reviews. You can watch them all if you want. Cool. Okay. And that's pretty much it. If you want, you can book a call down here. If you want to speak to someone on the phone, right? You could also do that through More and book a call, right? Sometimes you want to talk to people, so we can go ahead and do that. But in general, that's pretty much it for today. Do you guys have any questions for me? Right? You guys have been asking questions throughout, so that's very good. I asked you guys to do that, and it's great. But if you have any last-minute burning questions, now's the time to ask. I'll give you guys a few seconds here to write out your questions. I know there's also a time delay between when I'm saying this and you guys get it. I think there's like a 30-second delay. So I'm going to wait until you guys hear what I'm saying and get a chance to type this out. But I'll also put into the chat my personal email, rob@lumiwealth.com. If you have any questions for me, you can do that. Thank you, John. Glad you enjoyed this. Awesome. I'm also going to give you guys an invite again to our Discord server. Right. So here again, if you want to join Discord, you could ask me questions on here. I'm very active on Discord. So if you guys have any questions, you could ask me on here as well, or email me. Right. Bill asks, is there any recommended class sequence, basic to advanced? Yes, absolutely. I'd recommend taking the algorithmic trading class first. It's definitely our most beginner-friendly class. Start with that. That one starts on October 13th. It's what we were talking about here. I'd start with the algo trading class. We basically teach you from the very beginning. Even if you don't know how to code, we'll take you through that whole process. And then after that, you can pretty much take any of the other 3 classes, or I guess 4 classes. You could take our crypto trading class after that if you want to learn how to do this stuff for crypto. The algo trading class, by the way, this one's really kind of an overview of everything, but we mostly focus on stocks. But the crypto class obviously focuses directly on crypto, right? So you get a lot out of that. We also have an options trading class you can take if you want to specifically do for options. We have a machine learning class that will teach you how to apply this using artificial intelligence, right, or machine learning. And then we also have a new class called Trading as a Business, taught by Guy, very, very smart dude, manages like $50 million worth of assets. And that one's not a programming class, but if you don't have a strong trading background, he can actually teach you a lot about how to trade and make money doing that. He's been doing that for his clients for quite some time now, so he's a great person to learn from. He's, again, manages like over $50 million. So he's done really well for himself. So yeah, I recommend you start with algorithmic trading. That's probably the best starting point. And then you can branch out into the other ones there. There isn't too much of a hierarchy. You can, as long as you take your algo trading first, you can take pretty much any of the other ones afterwards. All right. So thanks for that question, Bill. Appreciate it. Cool. All right. Any other questions, guys? It's been some time, so I'm assuming you've had a pretty good amount of time to write this out. Again, if you have any burning questions in the future, you can book a call with us. It's on our website, under More, book a call. right? You could also email me. I gave my email address there. You could also find me on Discord. So there's a lot of ways that you can get in contact if you have any questions in the future. All right. Okay, but that's pretty much it for today. It's definitely been a pleasure having you guys here. Thank you very much for joining. Hope to see you guys in the class. It starts soon, in about 2 or 3 weeks. So I'll see you guys there, hopefully. And if not, I still hope you have a great night. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for joining here. And I hope you guys have a good night. Thank you very much. Bye.